Hello everybody. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to replace all of the bulbs in the dashboard, as well as the glove box and center console. We got a ton of bulbs to replace in this video, so I'm just going to show you from left to right what I'll be replacing today. Down at the very bottom, we've got the dimmer switch. Coming up a little bit, we've got the fog light, the cruise control, the traction control, and the sunroof. Then we got our meter components here. There's 27 bulbs behind there that we got to replace. Off a little bit to the right, we got the trip meter select and reset buttons. Then in the center, we got the AC controls and the clock. Off to the right, we got the glove box light. Coming down the center a little bit, we got the coin tray, as well as the heated seats, both on the left and the right side there. And then we got the selector lever bulb. And last but not least, we got the center console bulb. And so I'll give you a warning before starting this project. When you replace just a few bulbs, for whatever reason, other bulbs have a tendency to go out. So that's why there's a huge recommendation on the forums that if you're going to replace any of the bulbs, just replace them all. So I'm just going to give you that fair warning. Also, if you're going to be replacing any of the bulbs that have a switch, electrical connector, or anything like that, such as those switches, or the meter components, or the AC controls and clock, I would recommend disconnecting the battery before beginning. Otherwise, if you're just replacing the selector lever, the center console, or the glove box light, you can just leave the battery plugged in and replace it as is. So, why don't we get started? We're going to buy some bulbs now. I'm going to show you how to find the OEM parts, as well as give you the bulb size in case you want to try aftermarket LEDs or something like that. So we got AcuraPartsForLess.com. We're going to come down here and select our vehicle. I got a 2002 TL Sedan Type S. And we're going to come down to electrical and switch. And here we'll find the illuminator or dimmer switch. And then we got the fog light. We got the moonroof. We got the traction control and cruise control buttons. We got the heated seats. We got the trip meter select and reset button, as well as the emergency indicator. These are all a T3 sized bulb. And over here in the fog light, there's also a T3 green bulb, and the cruise control also has a T3 green bulb. The rest are just plain halogens. And if you wanted to keep it all original, these are actually blue bulbs, but I think regular halogens would also work just fine. And then here is the clock bulb. This is a T4 bulb. And come on back to electrical again, and we're going to click the heater control. And up here we have 4 T3 bulbs, and then we have 5 T4 bulbs. Come on back again, and we're going to select the meter components. And you'll see a bunch of different part sizes here, but really that's because there are just different sockets. But nonetheless, these are all number 74 bulbs. There's 27 here. Come on back. And we're going to come on down to the interior, and we're going to select console. And then here is our coin tray bulb. This is also a number 74 bulb. Back again, and we're going to select chassis, and we're going to select the selector lever. And this is also the last number 74 bulb. So in total there's 29 74 bulbs that you'll need. Coming on back, we'll select the interior bumper again, and instrument panel garnish. And up here, whoops, we've got the glove box bulb. This is a size 194 bulb. And last but not least, we'll come down to interior bumper one last time and the rear console. And here is our console bulb. And this is also a 194 bulb, so you'll need 2 of those. Alright, and the first thing we should do whenever working on the lights is we should remove the positive terminal from our battery and just set that off to the side. Next, we're going to remove these 2 panels in order to get access to these switches here as well as the dimmer. And so we're going to start by popping this off. Slides right out. And then we're going to remove this Phillips screw right there. Next, we're just going to pop these clips loose. There, one right there, one at the bottom here, and then one more on top up there. And this whole piece will come right out. And then we're just going to disconnect this little clip right there. Then to get access to the dimmer bulb, we're just going to go back and remove this Phillips screw and this Phillips screw, and then this whole assembly will come out, and then the bulb is right there. Then to remove these 3 switches, if we take a look on under here, we'll see each of the 3 switches, and we can just kind of push from the back. There we go. Pull it forward, and we can remove the electrical connector on each of the switches. So in order to get access to all these switches, we're going to have to remove this entire piece that goes across. And it is simply held in by a Phillips screw located right there and there, as well as there are a bunch of clips that hold it on. So you'll just be pulling and prying it out from there after you remove the screws. So we'll start with that. We're going to remove those 2 Phillips screws at the top. Next, what we need to do is we need to get the steering wheel out of the way a little bit. So off to the left-hand side, there's a little lever here. Pull that down. And the steering wheel will come all the way down. And that'll allow us better access to get this center piece off. And with the 2 screws out and the steering wheel all the way down, we just need to pry out this entire black piece of trim. There are no more screws, just a bunch of clips, and it might require a little bit of muscle. And I'll try to do it with one hand to the best of my ability, but I like to start from the top here. Just kind of pull that down like that and work our way around to the left side. Let's pull that out. There we go. And then keep working our way around. Right by the tachometer, there's a clip right here. Give that a good pull. And there's another clip right here by the fuel gauge and thermometer. Give that a good pull. There we go. And after you pull this part here should kind of pop out. And then there's one last clip up here. It's the hardest one. Try and do it with one hand. Just get a good grip on under there. See if I can do it with one hand, everybody. There we go. All right, and the entire dashboard piece is loose. Then, if we take a look next to the fuel gauge, we'll see right in there, there's a little green clip. Same type of thing as the fog light. There's a little button you push, and then you pull that switch right on out. All right, next we'll come around to the passenger side of the vehicle, and we're going to remove this electrical connector right there. And then there's a black one located right there. We'll disconnect those 2 next. Again, same type of connector, just a little button, and it pulls right out. And with those 2 switches removed, that'll give us a little more access room. And we can then disconnect that little gray switch there, or a bigger switch. And then there's one more switch back there, kind of at the top of the screen. We'll remove that one, and we should be able to remove the entire dashboard. And actually, I lied. There's one more thing you got to do before you can remove the entire dashboard. Because of this piece, you can't remove it because it's in the way. So what you got to do is you got to really pull up right there and pull up right there really hard, and then you can remove this piece above your steering wheel. There we go. All right, and with that steering wheel trim piece off, we can now remove the dashboard, and it comes out best if you kind of pry out the bottom and then pull it up and out. So I'll kind of demonstrate that for you. So pull out the bottom, kind of rotate it upward. There we go. And our dashboard piece is out. Here's a little bit of a look of what it looks like on the inside. Then here is the entire center trim piece. So off on the side here is normally where the 3 switches would go. And then we're gonna work our way across. And this is the select and reset button for the trip meter. And to remove it, we just remove these 2 Phillips screws. And then the bulbs are right in there. Working our way over. This is the clock, and that's the bulb for the clock. And then here is the climate control. We've got 4 black bulbs on top, and then 5 brown bulbs on bottom. And lastly, here is the emergency indicator light switch. We just removed those 2 screws, and this assembly would come out. And then there's a little green bulb down there. All right, back in the car again. We're going to be removing our meter components to get access to those bulbs. To do that, we got to remove these 2 screws up here, as well as there's a screw down there, and lastly a screw right there. So we're going to remove those 4 screws next. All right, and with those 4 screws out, we can then just take the assembly, kind of pry it forward a little bit, and then we're going to angle it off towards the right, and then we'll have access to these 3 switches, one right there and 2 further in there, and we're going to remove those switches. All right, and with those 3 green electrical connections removed, we can take out this entire assembly, and it just kind of lifts straight up and out, just like that. And we'll take a look at the back. And you can see there are quite a few bulbs to replace the little lights. They basically come out like a screw, so we just need a flathead screwdriver or a Phillips screwdriver, and they screw right on out. Let's see. And there we got our little bulb. And then you just put the brand new one in. And it really is that simple. And to remove these bulbs, you just need to twist it, and it comes right out. No screwdrivers or anything needed. And you can see respectively, they all have a similar sized bulbs, the black, the red, and the blue. These are all number 74 bulbs. And even though this bulb looks a little bit different, it also is a number 74 bulb. And you can get a bunch of replacements on eBay for about 10 bucks. Before putting the bulbs back in, make sure you take a picture, because you'll notice that there are some slots that aren't used, and it'd be a shame for you to put your car back together only to find out that you put the bulbs in the wrong spot. I would recommend wearing a glove when putting the new bulbs in, because the oil on your fingers could ruin the bulb life. For this next part, we're going to be getting access to our little power light bulb dimming switch here, as well as getting access to the coin tray bulb, getting access to the gear selector bulb, which is the longest process of all, as well as access to our little center compartment bulb here. So all you really need are some screwdrivers of various lengths, and we're going to start by opening this up and removing this piece of gray side trim up on here. So this is held up by some clips, so you just need to give it a good pull up. There we go. Easier with two hands. Okay, and then lastly, there's one more clip at the top here. This one kind of aims that way, so we got to pull it in outward motion. There we go. And it is out. And then do the exact same thing on the other side, and that'll give us access to a bunch of screws here, but we'll get to that in a second. Next, we just need to clear out the cup holder and our little center console here. So there's a little piece of cloth, as well as just pop that on out. There we go. And that also gives us access to those two screws down there. With all of the screws removed all the way down on both sides, I like to keep them in order as how I took the screws out, so I know the correct order to put them back in. But after those are all out, we can grab the center console and give it a good pull back. There we are. And the center console's out. With the center console pulled back, we can now remove the cup holder. Remove that. And there is our center compartment bulb. Now we're gonna come around to the driver's side fuse box and remove this little cover here. And then we're gonna remove that golden screw in order to pop off this entire bottom piece of trim below the steering wheel, and that'll give us access to our indicator here. With that screw removed, we can now remove this entire piece of trim below the steering wheel off. So we'll just give it a pull here. And another pull here. Come around, pull in the bottom, and then pull up here. There we go. And with this piece of trim removed, we have access to the light dimming indicator switch, as well as we'll have access to a screw down here, which is one of the many for this piece of side trim. So with this all removed, as well as, sun's blocking my camera, there we go. With that screw removed, as well as all these screws down the side removed, and the center console pulled back, we can now remove this piece of side trim. There's a little tab up in here. There we go. And we've got our driver's side trim pulled off. We're on the passenger side now. And with this screw removed, and this screw removed, as well as with the center console pulled back, we can now remove this piece of side trim. There we go. Next, we need to remove this little black piece of trim around the selector lever. Not too hard, it just kind of pulls up on it like that by these 4 clips. So remove that next. Next, located in the far back by the heated seat controls, there's a little black piece of trim. We're just gonna remove that. Next, what we can do is we can kind of reach around up in here and pull up on this trim piece. It's on there pretty good, so might take a little bit of muscle, and then that'll give us more access around the side here in order to kind of push up on the heated seat button like that. And then we can pull it up the rest of the way here. Next, what we'll need to do is actually push the trim piece back in, so that way we can pull the heated seat switch the rest of the way out, and then we'll disconnect the connector on both of those. With the heated seat buttons out, we can now remove this little piece of trim. We'll just again pop it out, and then it comes out straight up just like that. Now we just need to remove those 2 golden screws. when putting them back in, careful not to drop them into what I like to call the pit of death. But in case you do, a simple stick magnet like this is good for getting them back out. But yeah, we'll remove those 2 screws next. And then this entire assembly will come out. Next, we just need to get some wood chucks to prevent the car from rolling. Or you can set your e-brake. And then what we need to do is turn the power to the car on. And we just gotta put the car in neutral. With those 2 screws out and the gear selector in neutral, we can now pull this assembly out to get access to the gear selector frame, I guess we'll call it. And then we're gonna pull the frame up. All right, so I forgot to show it while filming, but it'd be at this point that you could replace the coin tray bulb, which is located on the back of this assembly right here. Next, you're gonna see these 3 little tabs right here. You'll need to, they'll be under, and you'll need to push forward and then push up. It'll come up like that. There's 3 of them. There's one there, one right there, and one up in the front right there. And so you'll push all those out, and this whole assembly will come up, and we'll get to the next part to remove the bulb. Okay, then you'll follow this cord in the back. You'll lift up on your gear selector, and there's the bulb. You'll need to twist it, and it pulls right out. And so we can just pull the old bulb out and put the new bulb in. I would recommend wearing a glove so you don't get your oily fingers on it, which can potentially reduce bulb life. So we'll put the bulb in, and then we'll just give it a quick test, make sure it works. There we go. All right, last but not least, we're gonna replace the glove box bulb, which is located right on up in there. So first, we just need to remove this little piece of trim right here. There we go. And then we have to remove that screw, as well as those 2 screws right there. All right, and with those screws removed, you can just grab right here, give it a good pull, and there's our bulb. All right, and that concludes our video. I just want to say thanks for watching. I hope this video could be helpful and insightful in getting your bulbs replaced. Sometimes it's just the small things that matters, and so this could be a fun little project and just getting your car looking nice again at the night time. I would encourage you all to check out the description. I'll be putting a bunch more information down there. And also feel free to leave a comment. I'm pretty good at getting back to people's questions. So again, I just want to say thanks for watching again, and take care.